Ligatures and flourishes, or swashes, are typographic combinations and decorations and are another tool in a branding designer's toolbox. Let's talk about it. Ligatures and flourishes, or swashes, will be useful mostly as options for word marks and monograms because they are typographic in nature. Indeed, employing either technique can change an ordinary signature into a word mark. Typographic ligatures have existed from the first days when movable type was invented, carrying over many of the handwritten conventions of the times into the new medium of printing. Letters and the words like the and were often combined into single ligatures, and dozens of other letter combinations were among the first sets of lead type ever to be cast. However, as many new printing fonts were not designed with ligature variants, the use of ligatures declined by the first half of the 20th century. Then Herb Lubalin designed a masthead for a new magazine named Avant-Garde. Many designers loved it, and Lubalin designed a whole alphabet with lots of type ligatures based on the masthead type. Although ligatures were originally unique joinings of adjacent letters, the term now could apply to any alternative letter form variation or interaction between letters. It is hard to estimate the influence Lubalin had on modern typography and on identity design. Ligatures are a great tool for word marks. Please note that they can be a good tool for either an old-fashioned feeling or for a modern identity. Another typographic variation that goes well with ligatures is the making of decorative additions, such as swashes or flourishes. These typographic deviations can also communicate either an antique or a modern quality. Flourishes and swashes can imply fun and recreation and are consequently popular in certain segments of identity design, such as the food and drink industry, restaurants, and rock bands. The important rule here is to avoid letting decorations either upstage the core letter forms of the words embellished or interfere with the core letter forms. This is easier to accomplish if you keep the decorations outside the core of the letter forms. These samples don't let decorations upstage or distract from the core letter forms of the words embellished. If you don't do that, keep the decorations outside the core of the letter forms, the result can be hard to read, which is antithetical to effective branding design. I repeat, the important rule here is to avoid letting the decorations interfere with or upstage the core letter forms of words being embellished. Sometimes decent typographic designs are undone by unnecessarily complicating the design with offset strokes or textured backgrounds. A fine design can be undermined by contrasting the drop shadow with the background and not the actual letter forms, as in the case here. Sometimes letter forms are so stylized that people will have difficulty reading the message, a consideration separate from the swashes and flourishes used. The base letters are just too overwrought to be readable. The sad thing is that one doesn't have to sacrifice beauty for legibility, as we see here. Again, the key rule is, do not impede legibility by obscuring letter forms. It is one thing to use convoluted type on a magazine article title, where it can be an entertaining puzzle. That doesn't work for word marks or corporate identities. The whole raison d'etre of an identity is to be instantly and easily recognized and read. Designing a corporate identity that has to be deciphered, unraveled, or decoded is not a viable option. It goes against the very purpose of an identity, to easily identify the party in question. When it comes to people reading what you've created, you don't get 3 strikes. It's 1 strike and you're out. Sometimes designers get so fixated on typographic creativity that they don't realize that their creations are conflicting with the letter forms, or that the design contains other visual conflicts like poor contrast. But having said all that, ligatures, swashes, and flourishes are a powerful tool that every branding designer should know about and use when appropriate. For more information, go to logodesigntheory.com. If you found this useful, be sure to like this video, subscribe, and share this with anyone who needs to know more about logo design.